The year was 3179. Commander James Carter stood on the bridge of the Vigilant, staring into the swirling wreckage of the ash rift. The rift was silent now, but it hadn't always been. Long ago, two ancient alien empires had fought a massive war here. All that remained were broken ships, twisted metal, and floating debris. It was a graveyard, and a warning. Carter folded his arms behind his back. His gray eyes scanned the shifting clouds of debris outside the viewport. The Vigilant, a sleek human warship, had been ordered to patrol the border near the Galactic Empire. Officially, it was a routine mission. Unofficially, everyone knew the Empire was watching. "Status report," Carter said, his voice calm. "Engines stable. Shields at full," replied Lieutenant Kira Allen, his second in command. "No sign of hostiles. We're 2 clicks from the Empire's border." Carter nodded. "Keep us steady. Let's not give them a reason to blink." The crew worked quietly. They were professionals, trained, disciplined, and alert. Most were younger than Carter, but they respected him. He had earned that respect during the Battle of Europa 10 years ago, when he flew into a storm of enemy drones to save a stranded civilian freighter. As he paced the bridge, Carter's mind wandered. He knew what the Empire thought of humans: young, reckless, and weak. The Galactic Empire was ancient. Its starships were massive. Its fleet was legendary. To them, humanity was a footnote. But Carter didn't care what they thought. He believed in Earth. He believed in his crew. And he believed that underestimating humans was the Empire's greatest mistake. Suddenly, a soft alarm chimed. Commander Kira said, frowning, "We're getting proximity warnings. Something's off with our nav system." Carter turned sharply. "Details." She pulled up the map. "According to this, we've drifted 3 clicks across the Empire's border." "How?" "I don't know. There's interference coming from the rift. Magnetic turbulence. It scrambled our positioning data." Carter's jaw tightened. Crossing into Empire space, even by accident, was dangerous. The Empire didn't ask questions. They attacked. "Back us out. Slowly. Do not power weapons. Do not raise shields. I want us to look peaceful." "Yes, Commander." Outside, the ship's engines hummed as they began to turn. Then the comms panel beeped. "Unidentified signal," said Ensign Ramos. "Encrypted. Origin, Empire vessel." Carter approached the screen. The signal played, a harsh mechanical voice with heavy distortion. "You have violated Imperial space. Power down your vessel and prepare to be boarded." Carter didn't answer right away. He looked at the crew. Their faces were tense, but waiting. He tapped a button. "This is Commander James Carter of the Earth vessel Vigilant. We crossed your border by accident due to rift interference. We mean no harm, and are returning to neutral space." There was a pause. Then a second message arrived. "The Galactic Empire does not tolerate intrusions. Your apology is meaningless." The message cut off. Silence fell on the bridge. Carter looked out into the dark. Somewhere out there, the Empire was watching. He turned to his crew. "Battle stations. But do not fire unless fired upon." "Yes, sir." The lights dimmed to red. Crew members took their positions. The ship moved slowly, trying not to provoke. But Carter had a feeling it was already too late. And he was right. Far across the stars, aboard the Imperial flagship Dominion, High Lord Virix Thattel stood like a statue. His skin was pale blue, his eyes dark and cold. He wore heavy black armor lined with gold, and a long crimson cape draped behind him. Around him, officers worked in silence. No one spoke unless spoken to. Everyone feared him. The Dominion was a ship of legends, 2 miles long, armed with hundreds of weapons. It could destroy moons. It was the pride of the Galactic Empire's 3rd Fleet, and Virix Thattel was its master. An officer approached, bowing deeply. "High Lord Thattel, a human ship has entered our border. Near the Ash Rift." Thattel didn't move. "Humans, yes, my lord. A lone vessel, small, lightly armed. They claim it was an accident." Thattel turned slowly. His voice was smooth but sharp like a knife. "An accident? Yes, my lord. Commander James Carter of the Earth ship Vigilant sent a message. They say rift interference caused a navigation error. They are retreating now. Fatal laughed, a short bitter sound. How clumsy. How human. He walked toward the center of the command deck. Holograms of the human ship hovered in the air, small, agile, and modern. But to Thadal it looked like a toy. "Prepare a strike cruiser," he said. The officer hesitated. "My lord, the ship is retreating." Thadal narrowed his eyes. "So, they have not powered weapons. They show no signs of aggression." Thadal raised his hand. "That is the point." He stepped closer to the officer. "Do you know what happens when you let a rat scurry into your palace and leave unharmed?" Thadal asked. The officer swallowed. "It returns with others." "Exactly." Thadal turned to his crew. "The Empire does not tolerate weakness. It does not forgive trespassers. This, Carter, will be made into an example." He faced the hologram again. "Send 2 cruisers. No communication. No warning. Fire at will." "Yes, my lord." As orders were relayed, Thadal walked to the massive viewing window. Stars glittered beyond, but his eyes were fixed on the empty space where the Vigilant moved. He imagined the human crew, afraid, confused, trying to understand why they were being hunted. He smiled. "It is always the same," he whispered. "They think mercy is strength. But mercy is a crack, and cracks break empires." In the background, ships launched from the Dominion. Dark, fast, and deadly. Their engines burned like fire as they moved through space in silence. Back aboard the Vigilant, James Carter had no idea they were already being targeted. The Empire wasn't watching. It was preparing to strike. Red lights pulsed on the Vigilant's bridge. The crew moved quickly but calmly, trained for situations like this. Commander James Carter stood at the center, eyes locked on the main screen. His voice was steady. "Keep shields down. Don't look like a threat," he said. "Ramos, any changes on sensors?" Ensign Ramos squinted at his console. "Still no direct contact, sir. But there's movement. Fast. 2 ships approaching. Estimated arrival, 1 minute." Lieutenant Kira Allen turned toward Carter. "Empire cruisers," Carter nodded. "Has to be. And they're coming in hot." The crew grew tense. No one needed to say it. If the Empire was sending warships at full speed, this wasn't going to be a warning. "Raise shields. Evasive pattern Delta," Carter ordered. "Helm, get us out of this zone. Now." The Vigilant's engines roared as the ship banked hard, diving deeper into the ash rift. The once silent graveyard of destroyed vessels now became a maze, a place to hide. Then it happened. 2 beams of searing red light cut through the darkness. The blast struck the space where the Vigilant had been only seconds earlier. One scraped across the rear shields, sending a tremor through the ship. "Shields holding at 72%. Kira called out. "That was a warning shot." "Barely. They're not playing games," Carter muttered. "Now we know." More shots followed, fast, precise, and deadly. "Helm, spin us into that debris field," Carter barked. "Use the wrecks for cover. Keep engines cold once inside." The Vigilant weaved between broken star hulls and floating chunks of ancient cruisers. Explosions lit up behind them. Metal fragments bounced off their hull as they dove deeper into the rift's twisted remains. "Enemy ships closing in, 30 seconds behind," Ramos said. Carter clenched his jaw. "They want us dead. No questions, no diplomacy. Just silence and fire." Stest. He turned to his crew. "Listen closely. We're not dying out here. This ship is fast, and we're smarter than they are. We use the field. We stay unpredictable, and we make them work for every shot." The Vigilant powered down non-essential systems, slipping into the shadows of the wreckage. Stest. The Empire cruisers followed, scanning and firing at anything that moved. But Carter knew this place. He had studied the ash rift. He knew how to use chaos. "Ramos, divert reactor power to the hull. Mask our heat signature. Kira, start plotting blind jumps. We may need to blink out if this gets worse." Outside, the Empire cruisers slowed, unsure. Wreckage blocked their vision. Interference scrambled their targeting systems. The Vigilant was a ghost now, hiding in plain sight. For a moment there was quiet. Then, another explosion rocked the ship. A missile had struck near their aft thruster. Damage in engine room 3. Kira shouted. Fire suppression activated. Shields at 41%. Carter didn't flinch. Lock it down. Seal off the damaged sections. We're not done yet. He stared at the screen, eyes hard. They want to wipe us out, he said. Fine, let them try. The Vigilant vanished deeper into the rift, swallowed by shadows and smoke. The Empire ships hunted, but this time their prey was ready, and Commander James Carter was no longer running. The Vigilant drifted silently through the twisted remains of ancient warships. The ash rift was quiet, except for the low hum of the ship's systems and the occasional groan of stressed metal. Inside, lights flickered dimly. Emergency power kept only the vital parts of the ship alive. Commander James Carter stood over the navigation console with Lieutenant Kira Allen and Ensign Ramos. His voice was low, firm. Status? Kira scanned her screen. We've managed to mask our heat signature. The cruisers are still scanning, but they're losing us. Repairs? Carter asked. Ramos replied. Hull breach in engine room 3 sealed. Shield generator down to 35%. We have backup systems, but they won't last long under fire. Carter nodded. We need time, and we need a plan. He turned to the viewing screen. Wreckage floated all around them. Broken hulls, shattered towers, drifting bones of forgotten giants. These ships weren't from Earth. They were older, alien, unfamiliar and massive. Some had designs carved into the metal. Others looked melted by ancient weapons no one understood anymore. These ships have been here for centuries, Carter said quietly. Whatever destroyed them, it was bigger than anything we've faced. Kira looked up. You think any of it still works? Carter paused, then gave a small nod. That's the question. He tapped the console. There are power signatures, faint, but there. Energy cores. Weapons maybe. Old traps. We're sitting in a battlefield graveyard. Let's use it. He turned to Ramos. Start scanning for anything active. Energy spikes, radiation, strange signals. I want to know if there's anything we can turn into a weapon. Ramos nodded and got to work. Carter addressed the rest of the bridge crew through comms. All hands, listen up. We're going to set a trap. The Empire thinks we're running. We'll show them they're wrong. We're not here to die. We're here to fight smart. Below deck, engineers rerouted power, patched holes, and sealed off damaged sections. Medics treated minor burns and fractures. No one panicked. They trusted their commander. They trusted each other. Hours passed. Then Ramos called out, Commander, I found something. Old weapon pods, alien design, inside one of the wrecks nearby. Still has a live core. Looks like an EMP system, maybe gravity-based. Carter leaned in. How close? 200 meters. We'll need to send a team in manually. Do it. Quiet and fast. A small team suited up and left the ship in thruster packs, floating carefully through the rift toward the wreck. Their lights glowed faintly in the darkness. After tense minutes, they returned. Core is unstable but still active, one of them reported. We can link it to our signal system. If they chase us here, we can trigger it remotely. Perfect, Carter said. Plant it. Make sure it's hidden. As the trap was set, Carter returned to the bridge. He stood before the main screen again, watching the Empire ships move slowly in the distance. They were scanning, circling, trying to force the Vigilant out of hiding. He smiled faintly. They're hunting us in our own trap. Kira stepped beside him. What if it doesn't work? Then we improvise. But one thing's certain. He paused, looking out into the dark. We're not going down without making them bleed first. The Vigilant powered up slowly, quietly, like a predator waiting in the dark. The Empire ships were coming closer. Soon, they would enter the trap. And then Carter would show them what humans could really do. The ash rift was silent, but tension filled the air like static. Commander James Carter stood on the bridge of the Vigilant, watching as two massive Empire cruisers moved slowly through the debris field. Their sensor beams flickered through the wreckage, scanning for any sign of the human ship. "They're close," Lieutenant Kira Allen whispered. "Too close." "Let them come," Carter said, his voice calm. "They think we're cornered. Let's prove them wrong." The Empire cruisers glided forward, cautious but confident. Their hulls were dark and sharp, their weapons ready to fire. Inside, they believed the Vigilant was just another weak target hiding in fear. They didn't know what Carter had prepared. "Ramos," Carter said, "activate the decoy." Ramos tapped the controls. A faint signal pulsed from a destroyed alien warship nearby, one of the oldest wrecks in the rift. It looked like a disabled craft, barely held together, but inside it was wired with the ancient alien core the team had recovered. The moment the Empire's sensors picked up the signal, both cruisers changed course. "They're moving in," Ramos said. "Scanning hard. They think we're inside that wreck." "Let them," Carter replied. The Vigilant remained dark, hidden behind a thick wall of debris. The crew held their breath. This was the moment. Carter waited. He counted silently. One cruiser passed just above the decoy. The other was right behind it. "Now," he said. Kira hit the trigger. The alien EMP core roared to life. For a split second, everything went white. Then silent. The pulse blasted through the area like a shockwave. Electrical systems on both Empire cruisers sparked violently. Lights flickered. Engines shut down. Weapon systems powered off. For 10 full seconds, both enemy ships drifted, completely blind. "They're hit," Ramos called. "Systems offline, at least temporarily." "Bring us around," Carter ordered. "Target weak points. Fire torpedoes. Low yield. We don't need to destroy them. We need to cripple them." The Vigilant roared out from the wreckage, fast and focused. The first torpedo hit the lead cruiser's engine. It exploded in a bright flash, spinning the ship off course. The second torpedo slammed into the second ship's shield generator, cracking its protective field. The Empire crew scrambled to recover, but it was too late. Carter's ship darted like a blade between giants, landing surgical blows and retreating before the enemy could respond. One cruiser managed to fire a single plasma blast, but it missed, hitting a dead hulk drifting in the field. "Status?" Carter asked. Kira grinned. "One cruiser disabled. The other is limping. Shields failing. Weapons still down." Carter nodded. "We send a message. They need to know this was not luck." He opened the comms channel and broadcast directly to the Empire ships. "This is Commander James Carter of the Vigilant. You came hunting a ghost. Now you know what that ghost can do." He paused. "If you try again, we won't just run. We will break you." He ended the message. No threats, no insults, just the truth. On the screen, the damaged cruisers slowly turned away. They didn't fire. They didn't chase. They retreated, engines flickering. The crew of the Vigilant burst into quiet cheers, but Carter stayed focused. "They'll be back," he said. "And next time, they won't make the same mistake." Kira looked at him. "So what do? "We move," he said, "deeper into the rift. We need a bigger plan." As the Vigilant turned and vanished into the shadows once again, the message was clear. The hunter had become the hunted. The Vigilant moved silently through the deeper layers of the ash rift. The light was dim. The ship's outer hull was scarred, but it was still alive. So was its crew. Commander James Carter stood at the center of the bridge, studying the star map glowing on the screen. He had just defeated 2 Empire cruisers using ancient wreckage and clever tactics, but the Empire wouldn't let that go. "They'll send more," Kira Allen said quietly. "Bigger ships, heavier firepower." Carter nodded. "We have one chance to survive. We don't run. We end this." He looked around at his crew. Tired eyes, burned uniforms, minor injuries, but not one of them had lost focus. "We set the final trap," Carter said. "We lure their flagship." Kira's eyebrows lifted. "You want to bait the Dominion?" "Yes," Carter said. "Thal is proud. He won't stay back forever. He wants to destroy us himself. Let's give him a reason. Carter outlined the plan. They would broadcast a false distress signal, pretending to be heavily damaged. If Thal saw a wounded ship that had embarrassed his fleet, he'd come. But the trap would be buried deep inside the rift, at the heart of a massive field of unstable wreckage. Carter had found an old alien dreadnought there, its power core still pulsing. If we can trigger that core, he explained, we might create a shockwave strong enough to cripple any ship caught in it, including the Dominion. Kira frowned. And us. We stay just outside the blast zone. If we time it right, we survive. If we don't, he didn't finish. The crew got to work. The engineers wired the alien dreadnought's core to a remote trigger. The communications team set up a broadcast, static-filled, broken, and desperate. Attention Earth Command. The message said, Vigilant heavily damaged. Requesting emergency extraction. Coordinates attached. Immediate assistance needed. The signal repeated on a loop. Then they waited. Hours later, Ramos spoke. Large ship incoming. Profile matches the Dominion. Estimated arrival, 15 minutes. Carter stood slowly. Battle stations. This is it. As the Dominion neared, Carter saw it on the screen. Massive, terrifying, surrounded by escorts. The Empire had brought a fleet. We just need one shot, he whispered. The Dominion stopped at the edge of the trap. Then a comm signal came through. It was Tal. His voice was cold. Carter, you've made quite the name for yourself. I expected more from a so-called commander. This is where it ends. Carter didn't answer. Instead, he signaled Kira. Wait for it. The Dominion moved closer. 10 seconds to detonation zone, Kira said. Now, Carter hit the trigger. At first nothing happened. Then the alien dreadnought exploded with a blinding flash. The shockwave burst outward in a perfect ring, tearing through wreckage and space like a blade. The Dominion shook violently. Smaller escorts were torn apart instantly. Direct hit, Ramos said. Their shields are down. Engines offline. But the wave also struck the edge of the Vigilant. The ship jolted. Systems flickering. Power down to 40%. Kira shouted. Main drive unstable. Hold together. Carter yelled. Just hold. The Vigilant spun out of control, but stayed in one piece. Behind them the Dominion floated, wounded and drifting. Fire burned along its side. It was still intact, but no longer a threat. They're pulling back, Ramos said. Retreat signals confirmed. Carter sat down slowly. We made our point. The bridge was quiet. No cheers this time, just relief. Kira looked at him. What now? Carter smiled faintly. We go home. They had faced the strongest ship in the galaxy, and survived. The Vigilant moved slowly through open space away from the ash rift. The stars looked calm now, far from the chaos they had just escaped. Behind them the Galactic Empire's fleet was silent. The mighty Dominion had retreated, crippled and humiliated. Commander James Carter stood on the bridge watching the stars ahead. His uniform was scorched. His face showed exhaustion, but his eyes were steady. Engines holding, Kira Allen reported. Shields at 30%. Hull damage patched for now. We're holding together. Good, Carter said. Set course for Earth. The crew worked quietly, still processing what had happened. They had faced an enemy. No one thought they could survive. And they had won. Not with firepower, but with strategy, unity, and courage. Ramos turned from the comm station. We've received a message from Earth Command. They got our report. They want a full debrief once we return. Carter nodded. They'll have it. He looked around the bridge. Faces were tired, but proud. Some had bandages. Others had been awake for almost 2 days. But they had done something no human crew had ever done. Held off an Empire attack, damaged the Dominion, and lived to tell the story. Kira stepped closer to him. Think they'll come back? Carter didn't answer right away. He thought about Thale, about his arrogance, his anger and his pride. The Empire wasn't used to losing, and they definitely weren't used to losing to humans. They might, Carter said finally. But next time they won't be so sure of themselves. He paused. And next time we won't be alone. The crew looked up. Because of what we did, he continued. Earth will prepare. Other captains will learn. We showed them what's possible. We've earned respect. He sat down in the command chair and took a deep breath. We were a lone ship. They laughed at us. He looked out the window toward the stars. They're not laughing anymore. The Vigilant moved forward, damaged but strong, carrying its crew home. The ash rift faded behind them, a dark memory in the distance. Ahead lay Earth and the future.